Okay, well, I recently got my 100th subscriber, and thanks to you all for subscribing. And since then, I've gotten some more subscribers. And as I was answering the questions that I was asked, um, I ran out of time on the second and last question. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm continuing my discussion from there, and I'll start at the beginning. The question is, the what have you experienced for miracles? The first one was when I became a Christian. That's a miracle. The second one, when I was in high school, I was on a camping trip with my youth group that I was in, and there were a number of parents of younger children that were on this as chaperones, and they brought their children with them. And one of these children got lost. So in a mountain in Canada, a child got lost on this youth group camping trip. And the chaperones, I was very concerned about this boy being lost, of course. So I um, was trying to tell them that, you know, this seems pretty serious. We ought to do something to find this boy. And they just kind of blew me off. He's, playing in the woods. He'll be back, etc., etc. Well, after a while, the parents, particularly the mother of this boy, um, became very concerned. Yes, okay, he is lost, and that's bad. So we formed search teams and went off to look in the woods. Um, and there was some Boy Scouts there on a camping trip. They were looking as well for this boy. And then a person uh, comes up who appeared to be a ranger, a park ranger, if you will. So he said, "Well, I'll go look for the boy," and he left to look for the boy. And later on, he returned with the boy, and I was talking to the boy after he was found by the ranger, and he said it was getting dark, so he was scared, and he saw a stranger. But then he realized that it wasn't a stranger because he was wearing a badge. So if somebody's wearing a badge, he was apparently told they're a cop. You can trust them when you're in trouble and things like that. So he went with the ranger and returned to us. And of course we were all praying, and the mother went ballistic when the boy came back, just breaking down in tears and praising God and uh, just so thankful that her baby had been returned to her. And one of the people that was with us on the trip, and I think he was also a Boy Scout, but he wasn't affiliated with this pack or troop or whatever of the scouts that were there on a jamboree or what have you. And he said that before the boy was returned, that the chances aren't very good that this boy will be found. He might be found later on, after a few days, when the animals have eaten him, or it was just a very bleak picture that this fellow teenager at the time. I was a teenager and he was as well. We were in high school. Uh, was painting. So I was pretty nervous about this and praying a lot. It was really intense prayer this whole time, and it was getting dark and so on. So it was hard to see. And every 15 minutes, we would holler out the boy's name, and I think the mother had a whistle, and she would blow it so that he would hear it and walk toward the whistle. And um, so, needless to say, it was a very um, great relief when this boy was returned. Now, where the miraculous part comes in is how the boy was returned, uh, which I kind of skipped over that as I was going through it the first time. So this ranger, he said, "All right, my car's over there. I'm gonna go and drive off and do everything I can to find the boy." So he gets in the car and he drives off. Uh, my line of vision, I could see, from the left side of the road to the right side of the road, and then there was more road to the right, more road to the left that was obscured by trees, so I couldn't see the whole road. I don't know how many miles it was, but I could see a certain segment of the road, and his car was close to the left side of my field of vision. He gets in the car and he drives off, and as soon as the car drove off to the right, out of my field of vision, it was back on the left side driving in. Now, you may have seen a commercial. There's a football announcer who did some commercials for Ace Hardware, and there's a commercial where he drives off to get some hardware store supplies, and as soon as he leaves, he comes back. So it's the same kind of thing. The car is going this way, and as soon as it comes out here, it comes back in on the other side. Um, and remember, the boy was hiding from this man, because he was alone and he thought that this man was a stranger, but he saw the badge. He saw the ranger badge on the guy's chest. So he went with the ranger and was returned to his family. So that is the miracle that I experienced. So my suspicion is that this so-called ranger was actually an angel, and um, there really isn't any way. And the other people didn't seem to be aware of this strange. The car's leaving and then it immediately appears back at the other end of the road. They didn't seem to notice that. And I actually asked somebody if they saw what happened, and I can't remember. Um, it's been quite a number of years since then now. I can't remember exactly what they said, but they seem to not have been aware that as soon as the car left, it was back with the boy. But then talking to the boy, I asked him, and he was describing something that took a long time. He hears the branches crackling, and then all of a sudden he sees somebody, but he's afraid of them, and then it's like, oh, it must be a policeman. He's got a badge, and he got in the car, and they drove back over, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes. There was a certain length of time that had passed in all of this. But what I saw was the car drives off without the boy, and then immediately reappears at the other side and drives in with the boy. So that, I think, was probably an angel that God had sent to deliver this boy. Now, the event is something that I've really spent a lot of time thinking about, and particularly after it happened, but even since then, I'll hear something about relativity theory or something, and then I'll try to go back and say, well, is there any kind of way naturalistically to explain that event? And as I said in the answer video, I think I have OCD. Now, a person with OCD will tend to go back to events that happened in the past and replay them in minute detail, examining very specific, every exact detail of what happened. So I've really spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I really can't think of any other explanation that makes any sense other than a supernatural event occurred. There was I was struggling with doubts at this time, so it really helped to reinforce my faith in God. Um, in addition to rescuing the boy, who it's a direct answer to prayer. Find Wayne, and God did find him and return him. So I thought, well, maybe there was some kind of magnetic force and it was causing an optical illusion. And I just, I've really wrestled with all kinds of different scenarios of what may have explained this. So I really think that there was something miraculous going on here. So that is a miracle that I have experienced in my life. Um, there's been other miracles as well. There is a girl um, who's probably a teenager now, but at the time she was, I think, 7 years old, who I think was on this trip as well, actually. Um, and she came down with cancer. And my one of the people in my family said that they didn't think she was going to live. They didn't think she was going to get over the cancer. But we prayed. The whole church was praying, and I myself and others were praying pretty intensely that this girl would get better through the doctor's treatments, and also she was taking something called Manitech, um, which is supposed to be similar to what the Jews ate while they were wandering in the wilderness. Uh, and through the traditional medicine and also through this alternative medicine of Manitech and the prayers, she did get better. There was another woman, another female, this time an older woman, who had cancer, and my mother told me that she wasn't going to get better, and I said, no, she is going to get better. Uh, she is going to be cured of her cancer, and I prayed. She got better. So miracles do happen today, and the the uh, the original impetus again for this video was to explain miracles that I have seen in my life uh, as an answer to a question on the 100. I reached the 100 subscriber mark and was asked some questions, so I'm answering them. So yes, so many miracles happening even today, all around us, and this miracle of the boy being lost and found, I think. I, Again, I don't really have any solid documentation to give you, or a videotape or anything. All I have is my personal eyewitness testimony, which you could believe or not believe. But I know what I saw, and I don't talk about it a lot uh, because I think that perhaps people um, will. It sounds kind of hard to believe that people might think I'm crazy, or trying to be sensationalistic. But again, I know what I saw, and I saw a supernatural event. Um, So that's something that we could add to a cumulative case for the existence of God, in addition to the cosmological argument and so on. Miracles such as this one that I saw in our own day. There was eyewitness testimony in the Bible of miracles that we can add in as well. But yeah, those are the two miracles: becoming a Christian, being born again, How can a man be born when he is old?